Despite what the title might have you believe, the Switch 2 is still technically a handheld. But I think it's lost a lot of its touch as being a handheld with the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, both of them. They've lost their touch being handhelds because of just how big they are. I mean, you could barely fit the regular Nintendo Switch in your pocket, and forget about fitting the Switch 2 in your pocket. That thing's a whole butt monitor with Joy-Cons. It's ridiculous how big these things are. And it really shows how far we've come from making like true handheld, because a true handheld, in my opinion, should be able to fit in your hands small and, you know, not take up like 90 to 110% of your pocket. Like, it should be able to at least fit in your pocket. Which is why I still think that the DS and DS Lite are still the best handheld in the universe. I don't care if this can only play Nintendo games. I don't care if this is not being made anymore. I don't care if it's this small. This, my friends, is the best handheld in the universe. Yeah, Steam can play Steam games. I know it's better in that aspect, but come on, man. When this was in its prime, you could not beat the DS. The only other console that sold more than the DS was the PlayStation 2, and that was not by a lot. This was right there. And you obviously can't forget the 2DS and the 3DS. I did not like that 2DS that was just two screens that you couldn't fold. I know there was one that came out, I think it was like a 2DS something. I forgot the name of it. And then you also had the 3DS, which had a similar situation to the Nintendo Switch 2. But the backlash was enough where Nintendo just said, you know what, let's just bring the prices down. And then it became good. With the Wii U, with the Nintendo Switch 2, that is definitely not the case. They don't care. They don't care about how much backlash there is. They're still going to be a greedy butt company. And ever since Satoru Iwata died, Nintendo's never really been the same. And I don't think it ever will be for a while. It's just that dude carried Nintendo on his back like Atlas when it came to marketing and making sure the customers were well taken care of. That's what he was. He was a goated. And he was actually he was the CEO during the time where the DS was in its prime and when it first came out. So he's responsible for what made the DS what it is today, along with a lot of the other goated guys that work at Nintendo. But unfortunately, we are where we are now. And yeah, I just think Nintendo's lost its touch. Not only touch with consumers, obviously, but like I mentioned before in the beginning of the video, touch with design. I think the Nintendo Switch 2 design is kind of boring. Now, obviously, it's called the Nintendo Switch 2, so it was supposed to be an upgraded version of the Switch, which, let's be honest here, it's more like a Switch Pro. I'm going to be completely dead honest. I really kind of wish, and I was really hoping, before we started seeing leaks of the Nintendo Switch 2, I was praying to God that it did have a dual screen implement or dual screen something, at least dual screens, to go back, to make a callback to the DS and the 3DS and the DS Lite. I just think dual screens were such an amazing concept, and oh my gosh, it would have been so cool, because not only would you have had dual screens for the DS, but you would also be able to port all the DS and 3DS games onto the Switch 2. You can't do that because all those games have to have two screens. And another thing is, I don't know, and I doubt it. I really hope their next console is something similar to the Wii U and the Switch combined, because the Wii U, what I loved about the Wii U was the fact that you could play on your couch or play on the TV. And me personally, I do think the Wii U is one of the most underrated consoles of all time, and it just had so much potential, but that's besides the point. Now, the Switch, you could technically do the same, but with the Wii U, since it was like an extra controller, and I know that's where a lot of the confusion came from, but since it was like an extra controller, you could still play higher end games on the Wii U using the console. So I really hope one day it fully becomes a Nintendo Switch, which me personally, I think should be called the Nintendo Transform, if they ever go that route with the next console. Something like a Nintendo Transform is my made-up name, where it acts like a Switch and does all the things that the Switch does, but it also comes with the console, like a separate console, that you can play Wii U games and DS games, one screen right here, one screen on the tablet, and a dual screen implementation. I think that would be peak. But unfortunately, we're never gonna get that. I doubt we're ever gonna get that. Like I said, I still think this you can't get better than this, bro. This was like, I've said it before, this was peak Nintendo right here. Peak Nintendo, along with the Wii U. Like, look at this. Oh my gosh, such a beautiful sound, bro. Look at this. Our new Super Mario Bros. Nintendo DS, bro. Absolutely amazing. Oh, don't forget the masterpiece that was Mario Kart DS. Still to this day, my favorite DS game of all time. The DS, you couldn't beat it. There was too many good games on the DS, and the DS was just perfect. Look, you could fit this in your pocket. It's not even the size of my hand. Obviously, when you extend it, well, still, it's barely bigger than my hand. You can play perfectly on here. This is a true handheld. This is the peak, the true handheld. There is no other handheld console better than this. And I'm not trying to glaze Nintendo here. I mean, I'm glazing the console. I'm glazing this console, but I'm not trying to glaze Nintendo. Like I said, I obviously know that the Steam, when it comes to like Steam Deck and ROG Ally, they can play all these games and more. Like, it's not even a question. With emulation, I brought it up before in my last video. Go check that out right there. But it's not even a question. But this, I mean, come on. When this was in its prime, there was no need to pirate. There was no need to play other games because you bought it. You didn't buy a DS for other games. You bought it for Nintendo games because back then the Nintendo games were peak. And the DS was peak. Dual screen implementation. Me personally, I think the DS was better than the 3DS. That's me personally. I like it better. I know the 3DS was more powerful and could play better games. Play better games. But my personal favorite will always be the DS. The DS is my all-time favorite console. There is no other console. The only other console that comes close to my favoritism with the DS is the Xbox 360. That's the only one that comes close. Other than that, DS by a landslide is my favorite console. Yeah, this was just a little rant going off about how I think Nintendo's lost their touch with consoles, and I really do wish they would make another mini console like this, because as much as I love the Switch, the original Switch, I don't like the Switch 2, but as much as I love the Switch and its design, the DS was just so much better, and it was so much more fun to play. I had more fun playing the DS and more memories playing the DS. You could say it's nostalgia blinding me, I don't care. The DS was better than the Switch, and it is the best handheld console of all time. And as of right now, Nintendo will never come close to replicating that success and that just hype train that the DS carried for so long, and the hype that the DS started. It didn't start. The Game Boy started that hype, and then the Game Boy Advance built up that hype. The DS was just at the peak of it all, like the peak handheld gaming console. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you on the next one.